Alright guys, how's it going? Here is your review video for your Chapter 7 end test that you have tomorrow. Like I always say, go ahead, look through the problems, do them yourself, and then see if my answers match up with you. So for these first ones here, we are writing the word sentences as an inequality. Our first one is a number w, so that's our variable. Minus 3 is less than or equal to 10. So everything's circled and underlined. Those are my important parts of my sentence. So less than or equal to is that sign right there. So I have w minus 3 is less than or equal to. Our second one says a number z divided by 2. So z divided by 2. At least, and then we also have negative 6. So at least means greater than or equal to negative 6. And then z divided by 2. Remember, we write division as like a number over another number. We don't want to write it like this anymore because we're not going to see it like that anymore. All right, so these ones say tell whether the given value is a solution of the inequality. So our first one here is, let's see, we have 6, 4 is less than 24. 6 times 4 is 24. Since 24 is not less than 24, we will write no solution. Right, our next one, we have 8x is greater than or equal to 35, so we have 8 times 5 is greater than or equal to 35. So we have 40 is greater than or equal to 35. That is true. So there we would say solution. And for our last one, we have 2/3 times 3 is less than 1/4. That's 3 over 1. Cross reduce here, make those both 1s. We have 2 is less than 1/4. 2 is not less than 1/4, so we would write no solution again. All right, so here it says graph G is less than or equal to negative 1/5. Negative 1.5. You could go up and down by decimals if you wanted. I'm just going to use the graph that they give me here. So I'm going to go to negative 1.5, which is right about here. I know that it's a closed dot because this sign has a line underneath it. And then since my variable is on the left side of my inequality, I can just look at whatever way the arrow is pointing and go that direction. Or this is G is less than or equal to, and anything that's less than goes to the left. Next one here, we have P is greater than or equal to negative 1/4. Go ahead and make my graph here. And put 8 or so tick marks. Put negative 1/4 in the middle. Now I'm going to go up and down by fourths. So I would have 0, then positive 1/4, then 2/4, which is the same thing as 1/2. I would have negative 1/2, negative 3/4, negative 1, negative 1/4. And then at 1/4, I am going to put a closed dot because that's a greater than or equal to sign. And then I'm going to go to the right because it is a greater. So anything greater is always to the right. Anything less than is always to the left. All right, moving on. Here we need to solve and then graph. Draw my lines. Subtract 6 from both sides because I'm trying to get that f by itself. So I have f is greater than or equal to 3. I'm just going to use this graph down here. Close dot at 3, and I'm going to go to the right because it's greater than or equal to. Over here I have 2/3 plus d is less than or equal to 5/6. Subtract 2/3. Subtract 2/3. And I'm left with d is less than or equal to, and I need to figure out what that is. So I have 5/6 minus 2/3. I'm going to multiply this by 2 so I can get common denominators. So I have 5/6 minus 4/6, which is equal to 1/6. So I have d is less than or equal to 1/6. Make a graph here. 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know what happened there. All right, so if we have 1/6, I'm going to write that here. I'm going to go up and down by 6s. So 2/6 is the same thing as 1/3. 3/6 the same thing as 1/2. And then this is going to be 0, negative 1/6, and then negative 1/3. And negative 1/2. You don't have to fill them all in. All I want at the minimum would be to have 2 above and 2 below. Now I put a closed dot here because it is less than or equal to, and I'm going to go to the left. For my next one here, solve and graph 7p is greater than or equal to 4. Wrong button. Let's see here. Vertical lines, divide by 7. I'm left with p is greater than or equal to 84 divided by 7, which is, let's see. So 70 divided by 7 will be 10, so it's 12. Make myself a graph here. Then I put open it out at 12. And now since my variable is on the left-hand side, I can look whatever direction this is going and go that direction, or I can read it to myself and I know that it's p is greater than or equal to, and anything greater than or equal to would be going to the right. All right. For this one, to get the fraction out of there, we need to multiply by 3 here and here. So now you have f is greater than or equal to 1.5 times 3, which would be, let's see, 1.5 times 3, that's 1. It's going to be 0.5. I'm going to go ahead and use this graph down here. 4.5 is right about here, and it is a closed dot since I have my little or equals to sign, and I'm going to go to the right. Now, one thing that you might have on your test is something like this. You might have like 2 is greater than or equal to x, and you're going to have to graph that. So remember that whenever your variable is on the right-hand side of your equation, you can't just look at this arrow and say, oh, when I graph it, it's going to go to the right, because that's not necessarily true. What you need to do is one of two things. Remember, we talked in class how you can pretend like there's like a mirror here, and you can just write the opposite. Or you can just read it to yourself. Whenever we are reading inequalities, we always start with the variable. So this is x is less than or equal to 2, not x is greater than or equal to 2, because the less than sign is facing the x. So just keep that in mind so that your arrow goes the right direction. And also remember that on your test, there are like 5 points for each graphing question. So you really want to make sure you have those down. All right, this one says write the word sentence and solve the inequality. So 13, I'll do first. 3 times a number x is more than 18. So 3 times number x is more than 18. And then to solve that, divide by 3, divide by 3. X is greater than 6. Our second one, 84, is no less than 7 times the number k. So I have 84 is no less. So that means it's greater than or equal to. It's not less. It's greater than or equal to 7 times k. Oh, we already did this one. 7 divided by 12 is greater than or equal to k. Now, if you were to graph this, the second one here, you would have 12, 13, 14, 11, 10. Closed dot. But remember, just because this is facing the right doesn't mean you can go to the right. I accidentally did go to the right. What that means is you need to read it starting with the variable. So this is k is less than or equal to 12. So I'm actually going to go left. All right, each visit to a water park costs $19.95. An annual pass to the park costs $89.95. Write an inequality to represent the number of times you would need to visit the park for the pass to be a better deal. All right, let's take our highlighter. Each visit to a park costs $19.95. An annual pass to the park costs $89.95. Need to write an inequality to represent the number of times, and then we are looking for a better deal. Okay, so let's kind of break that down. Each visit, oh, the word each is also important, so I would definitely make sure. Oh, let's see. I don't know what happened. Hold on 1 second. I don't know what happened, but we're going to go with it. All right, so each, that's important. Why is it not writing now? Maybe that works. There we go. So each is an important word because that is where our variable is going to be. So we know that it's $19.95 per visit for each visit. So X, or I guess we really just put V for visit. That probably makes a difference. Let's put a V there. So it's $19.95 per visit. And we know that the annual is $89.95. So like if you would just go at the beginning of the year and say, I'm going to pay $90 or $89.95 and I'm going to have a pass for the entire year, or every time you go, you can pay $19.95. We want to see which one is the better deal. So we want to see an inequality represent the number of times you would need to visit the park for the pass to be a better deal. So the pass, let's see, so we want this to be greater than. The reason why I put the greater than or equal to sign is because if you think about it, you want to figure out when the point arrives that the 1995, so each visit would be a better deal than the 89.95. So now from here, your vertical line. All right, so our goal here is to get our variable by itself. So I'm going to divide by $19.95 here and $19.95 here. So these cross out. Left with v is greater than or equal to, and I need to figure out what that is. So I'm going to do this over here. So I have 1995. Let me do it in a different color, actually. Okay, so we have 1995 on the outside, 89.95 on the inside. Remember, whenever you're dealing with decimals, you need to make sure that your decimal is as close to the house as possible. All right, so now we have 1,995 and we have 8,995. I know that 1,995 goes into 8,995. I think that is 4 times, because 1,995 times 4 is 7,980. We subtract, we have 5, 1, and then this is going to be a 0. That's going to be 1. So we have 1,015. And then you see how many times 1,995 goes into 1,015, which is about 5 times. And that, as far as I would make you go, because you have an answer there. So you could say that v is greater than or equal to 4.5. So what that means is, after 4.5 times, to represent the number of times. Oh, we didn't even have to solve it. We just had to write it. So all you needed was right here, but we want to go further. This means that after 4.5 times, it would be a better deal to just have the pass. All right, next one. The length of a rectangle is 8 feet and its area is less than 168 square feet. 8 feet less than 168 square feet. Write and solve an inequality. You don't just have to write this time. So whenever I'm dealing with, shapes, I find it best to draw a picture. That's a really bad rectangle, but we're going to go with it. So the length of it is 8 feet. The area is less than 168. So we know that in order to find the area, you need the length and you also need the height, but we don't have the height. So we're going to say 8 times h is less than 168 because our base, or our length, times our height is less than, because it says it up here, that 168 square feet. And then we go ahead and solve. We divide by 8. We divide by 8. I know 160 divided by 8 was, well, yeah, that would be 20. So this is going to be 21. So I have h is less than 21 as our answer. But since it's a word problem, I need a word answer, so I would say 21 feet. So our height is less than 21 feet. All right. So that is it for your test tomorrow. Good luck studying, and yep, I will see you tomorrow.